There's a difference between change of character and break of structure, and most people they struggle to identify whether a high or a low has been made. So today I'm going to show you the difference between a change of character and a break of structure and how you can actually take trades using change of character, break of structure, and how you can actually tell if either a high or a low has been made. Okay. Now, first things first, I'll start by explaining how highs and lows are made. For example, let's say we are in an uptrend, right? And as we are in an uptrend, what we witness are green candlesticks, right? Like in the normal market, we always witness green candlesticks, right? So as our green candlesticks move, we do have points where we get some red candlesticks, right? For example, we can have a red candlestick that can look like this, right? A candlestick that trades in between candles. So I'll make it red. Sorry, this is orange. There's no red like this. Red. Let me put it as red. Right. Now, what you'll find is you continue going up as normal, you continue going up, right? But I want you to look at a point whereby all of a sudden you you are having unusual tails. When price moves, especially on these areas, if you still remember the concept that we learned about how to trade gaps or how healthy price action looks like, we said our tails must always merge. So these are candlesticks with normal tails, and I'm hoping we can all see them. I'm sorry if I miss some points. I'm drawing using a mouse, right? So don't judge me for that. This is very crucial, guys, into identifying in whether a low or a high has been made, right? So there's people in the waiting room. I've done that already. I've done that already. I've done that already. Okay. So let me continue. So what you're going to see is you're going to have normal, healthy price action where there's going to be a balance of buyers and sellers, right? If if you trade ticks and spikes, um, this this what I'm saying here is very useful. H, the mouse is hard to use, so I'll just use this one over here, right? So now what you see is usually you have tails that trend going up, tails that trend going up, right? And if you see this tail is bigger, is smaller than this tail is smaller than this tail is smaller than this tail. But you are going to get to a point where you're going to see that you have a tail that looks like this, or a candle that comes with a tail that looks like this, right? So let me come and draw a bigger tail here. Now what it means is the candle before that, its tail is sitting low, but it being the candle with a bigger tail, it means that it has the potential to become what? To become a high. But remember, this is forex and everything is controlled by people. When we have a bigger tail on a candle, it usually says we had buyers, right, that bought up to this point, but then sellers stepped in the market and our market started selling, meaning that if a candle looks like this, we have more sellers than buyers, right? So what you are looking forward is a candle that doesn't come and close above the next candle's tail, but we want that candle to have a tail that is lesser than the middle candle. So now we have one candlestick, two candlesticks, and three, meaning the in-between candle has a outstanding tail, right? So in the end, what it's going to end up looking like is it's going to end up looking like this. Let me do this. Let me rub this off. This is very crucial. This session I also uploaded on YouTube so that we see. And if you repeat it again and again, it will actually make sense. And I assure you, your strike rate in trading or is gonna change. So now we want to focus on three candles. Our first candle being a candle that has a tail like this. I'll also go on the actual chart and show you. And then our next candle that comes tends to be a candle that gives us a bigger tail, right? It can be green, it can be red. So don't be very much concerned on the colors, right? So this is our tail over there. And then now we don't need a candle that comes and closes above that tail. Simply this injustifies the creation of a high, right? But what we want to do is we want a candle, let's say like this, that comes and have a tail that ranges a bit below or very much below the middle candle. Now we know that we have one, two, and three. Simply, this means we've created a high. And for someone who who's not understanding this whole concept, I want to show you something, right? So, for example, what we can see here is we've been buying all along, right? Buying, 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 buying. And what you see here is we have a candle here. I want to show you this candle. I want to show you this candle over here. We have a candle that's over here, which is our candle number one. And if you check where is the tail is trending low, right? And then we have our candle number two. Where is the tail? The tail is trending at the top, which is here, right? And we have candlestick number three, which has a tail that's trending below the middle candle. So we have one, two, and three. This means that we've created a high. Now, when we've created a high, that same way of creating highs is also the same way that we create lows. You see here, we have our candle one, the tail is trending low. We have our candle two with the most outstanding tail, and we have our candle three, right? There are better ways. Actually, I can't say there are better ways. There are more ways to explain this, but I found this is the easiest way that I can teach people to know the difference between highs and lows. Right. So what you see here is, I want you to look at this. Um, we have this candle here, and this one as well. Their sequence is completely different. If you want to look at this, we have our first candle, our second candle with the most outstanding tail, and our third, and then we create a low. Here, if you see areas like this, they might be a bit confusing, but as time goes, you'll see that we will learn it when we want to distinguish the difference between a breakout structure and change of character. So someone might be asking themselves, what about if it looks like this? Right? If it looks like this, I'll show you. Or let me just show you straight away because we don't need to waste any time. Right. We all know that according to what I've been teaching you over the past few weeks, with a high, a low, 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 and when we break a previous low, that means we've broken structure, right? But now, if I ask you to look for a change of character on a sequence like this, you won't know. So what is really the difference between a change of character and a breakout structure? I'll come back again to how we create highs and lows after you understand the difference between change of character and breakout structure, right? So if we are in an uptrend, right? And we see that we are having highs and lows, highs and lows, highs and lows, highs and lows, highs and lows. And let's say this is an area where we have an order block, right? And we want our price to react at this area. What you can see sometimes is we can have a high, right? Like this. And we can break that high, right? And straight away come and break the low. Now, this law is a valid law. This law over here, it is a valid law. Why? Because it came and it broke a high. So now when this new high comes and breaks this valid law, we immediately call it a break of structure. So let me mark that point and do this. We immediately come and mark it a break of structure. So I'll come and put a US. Right. But then we can have another situation or a scenario where with a high, a low, a high, a low, a high, a low, a high, low, a high. And since we know that this is supposed to be a low, what you witness is it will fail to come and break the high over here, right? When it fails to break this high, it means that the momentum, right, or the orders that are at this low over here, they are not good enough to come and give us a break in price where on this high. So if they are not good enough to come and break this price, this means we will fail to break, right? And since that low is weak, we now call it a weak low because it failed to come and break the previous high. So we do what you call low hunt. We come and we hunt that low because it's weak. So we come and we break it. But now this is not a breakout structure. Why? Because this law is not a valid law, right? But it did attempt to come and break this high and it failed. And when it failed, it was overpowered. So the moment we break that law, this is what we call now a change of character, right? This is now what we call a change of character or CHOCH. Just don't get very fancy with words in trading. Now, when we get a change of character, it tells us that we are about to change the market direction. But what it doesn't tell us is it doesn't tell us that we are now changing, like now. So for us to be confident, we need a break or structure. And in a scenario like this, our break of structure will be witnessed. Our break of structure will be witnessed when we break this protected low. This low, we call it a protected low. Why? Because it came and it broke a high. So we know that this low is protected. It's not weak, right? So if we break that protected low, now we have a change of character and at the same time we have a break of structure. So for the guys that are very much concerned with risking, or for the guys that want to enter trades at an early stage, I want to show you this. Right. So what you see is, let's say we are buying Sorry, I think I give bullish examples a lot. And you see that you have failed to break this high, but you have a change of character. The only moment you can enter here is soon after you break, soon after you give a full break. And how do you know that you have a full break on your change of character? Let's say this is a sell candle, right? Let me put a red color to it. Let's say this is a sell candle, right? And for the first time, what your candle did was it came and it failed, or what it did was it came and it wigged, put a tail, a wick like this. This means you haven't broken your change, your change of character zone, right? Or where you are expecting your change of character to happen. This tail means, yes, sellers were there, but they were overpowered by buyers. So you don't take trades in such instances. But what you do is you wait, right? You wait, and what do you wait for? You wait for your next candle to show up. Only when you have a full body close below your zone is when you can start saying, this was my change of character. And soon as it closes, don't enter before a candlestick hasn't closed because it has the potential to go back up. But if it closes, you immediately take an entry. Where is your stop loss? This is not a high because this is not a valid low. But this low is telling us that we failed to break this high, but we might just start selling. So where is your stop loss? When you get to this area, your stop loss is always above your high. And our true high, according to us, is this high, right? Now, let me add on a little soup to that meat. Okay. Whenever we have a change of character, like I said, what do we expect? We expect to have a breakout structure, and in this example or case, our breakout structure is supposed to happen in this area over here. So let me put a different color to it. Let's say this is where our breakout structure is supposed to happen. Now, when we have a change of character, the trade doesn't retrace straight away and respect your order blocks and gaps. No, it's only after when we have, so let me mark it like this. Let me remove this tail. I think we're done with it. It's only after when we have a full breakout structure. So let me come and do this. It's only after when we have a full breakout structure. Sorry, I'm trying to do this. It's only after when we have a full breakout structure that we can only start expecting to get retracements to your areas like your order blocks, right? And how do you know that we are now about to retrace? I taught you on how to check if you've made a high or a low. What you simply do now is, let's say we are at areas like this. Okay, obviously it's gonna push down more a bit. So let's try to make it realistic as we can. So let's say you are convinced that you have a breakout structure, and the only next thing that you want to see now is either you've made a low or a high, right? So in this example, what you're looking for is a low. So when you are now looking for that low, what do we expect? We expect to see candles that support that we are now buying, right? And we expect to see that, okay, let me just mark it here. Let me just put it here. It's fine. Here is okay. What you expect to see is what I was saying, a lower tail, a bigger tail, and a candle that again comes with a lower tail in that zone. Right. Let me do this. Right. So now, if we see something like this, we now know that our low has been made. But if you go back to the lessons that we did, basically, lows are going to give you structures like that of a morning star, and highs are going to give you structures like that of an evening star. The market is not always going to be very, very much sympathetic with you that it gives you perfect structures. But you can definitely see that, okay, this is where my low is, and okay, this is where my high is. So let's say we've made a low at this area. Now, after a breakout structure, we expect price to retrace back, where our price now is to retrace back. If we had an OB, now we are saying that, okay, we are now buying back to the order blocks. Or what are we doing now? We are now buying so that price rate is the 61.8% and then it falls. Right, but I want you to know something. Remember, when you had this change of character, there was a certain amount of price that was needed just to break this mini low. So what you'd find is on areas like this one over here, you're going to have fair value gaps. And then above, sometimes you're going to have, let's say, here at this area here, you're going to have order blocks, right? So what do you use in a fair value gap or an order block, right? In cases like this, I would obviously want to wait for price to get to my OB, but the most important thing being, if we get a break of market structure again, on a fair value gap area, that means it is confirmed that this is now the new high, this is the low, and then we are going to start downtrending. Anyone with a question? Anyone with a question, you can raise your hand. Yo, seems that since people are quiet, there's someone who's writing on the whiteboard. I'm going to remove you. The guy written Google Pixel, I'm going to be removing you. I think we talked about writing on the whiteboard. Right. So let's go to the live chat and see what I exactly mean here. So let's go to the live chat and see what I mean. Right. Like I said, not everything is gonna be rosy, and let me show you what I really mean about that. So let's start let's start with the 1 hour time frame. Um based from what we can see here, based from what we can see is we were having our normal high, low, high, low, high, low, high, low, high. Now, if you look at it carefully, this is our boom 900 index. If you look at it carefully, this high over here was broken, right? And as it was broken, we never had a change of character. Why? Because straight up we came and we broke this low, and it is coming from this high, right? And we have a high that failed to break this previous high and then just show straight up. This is what we would have called our change of character. But just because this high broke this previous high and straight up came and broke this low over here, we immediately call this a break of structure, right? When we have a break of structure, what's the next thing that we expect to see? We expect to see the creation of a new low. But we now have a valid high and a valid low. So I'll put another red line over here so that we see which one is a valid high and low, valid high and valid low. Now, when this high over here was created, what we see that we have a small tail, middle tail outstanding, and then the other tail that follows a bit lower than the middle tail, meaning that we've created or we've successfully created a high. Now, this means this is what's happening currently on Boom 900. So this looks like a trade we could actually take, right? So now what we see is we have a high and we have a new low. Whatever is happening between that high and that low is just noise of that time frame. Obviously, if you go into M15, it's going to be something useful, right? But also look at something. Where did price come? It came here. What is here really that price came looking for? Because when we have a breakout structure, we want a retracement back and then we sell, right? In this case, we have switched. Our price is telling us it has switched from an uptrend to a downtrend. So let's take a fib. Do we have any major reactions towards our major points with one reaction and two reactions? We broke past that fib, meaning that most probably we are having a gap that is here. Now, how do I know? We have a gap here, we have a gap here, and the last gap that hasn't been filled is this gap. What is at this gap that we are looking for? Let me come and go to a smaller time frame so that we check. This actually looks like a trade we could enter in, right? And what you could see here is we have a supply zone. I think I taught you about supply and demand zones, right? Was this supply zone utilized over here? So let me drag my chart up to this point. Was it utilized over here, this supply zone? No, it hasn't been utilized yet. Meaning what? Meaning for the guys that now trade using flags, putting this all together, what you're gonna witness is you have your flag here, and what price is just gonna do is come tap into that supply zone and fall. So for my analysis for this boom 900 is we are going to sell. But based from what? Based from the fact that we've known that we have a breakout structure and we know that we have a valid high that has been created, right? And how do we always make highs? I think we can all see here, smaller tail outstanding, and then the next is small. How do we make a high? Smaller tail outstanding, then the next is low. Smaller tail outstanding, then the next one is low. So it's something that you have to practice your eyes over and over again so that you see. We have less than a minute remaining.